film first Friday, and one of the things that sometimes destroys families is basically people getting busy way too soon and starting a family that they didn't actually plan to have. But also too, sometimes people fall out of love. So here is a thing for you guys. There's 101 ways to make love without doing it, and I'm going to give you one of them on tonight, and that is to tell the other person that you love them. Oftentimes, people forget to tell those who they with that they actually love them, and that is one of the ways that you can make love without actually doing it. And I'm going to be briefly tonight. And my topic on tonight is to take a timeout. Now, often in football, you have 3 timeouts that you're able to take, and this comes up at a critical time in a game where maybe there was things that were actually planned and things were actually figured out, and you guys went over, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to win this game. But some way or another, things don't go right. Maybe the people are taking too much time to actually get the right play in, and you're trying to get that first down, and time is running and it's running down, and you're almost close to time running out, the play clock for you to make your next play, and you have to actually use a timeout. Or in other cases, it may be that you're trying to win the game and you're driving to actually win the game, and you have to take time to take a timeout so that you can actually save time, so that you can have enough time so you can set up to kick a field goal or actually go for the touchdown. But in any circumstances, timeouts are there when things fall apart or when you need to take time to actually plan things out. So on tonight, I just want to speak to you all about taking a time out with your actual families. One of the ways that you can actually take a time out is you actually, when things start going wrong and things aren't actually right in your actual family, this is a time to actually take a time out and figure out what's actually going wrong, why things are going wrong, and how you can go about a way to actually fix the things that are actually wrong in your family. So whenever things aren't how you would want them to be, it's a good time to actually take the time out and sit down and figure out what's going wrong and how can we actually make it right, and how can we actually get over what the problem is that we are actually facing at whatever point in time it may actually be. Another good reason to take a time out and figure things out is when things break down with your kids, possibly if you have multiple kids. You have to actually figure out a way to make some time for each and every one of them. So you have to break them up into different time frames to actually spend some time with them. So that may be spending some time with one of your kids to talk to them, to figure out what's going on with them, what problems or issues that they may be actually facing. And then it may be you actually taking the time out to figure out what's going on with one of your other kids, so that they may have some issues or some things that they may be actually facing. So you have to actually take a time out and say, hey, let me figure out what's going on with this kid. And then too, if you're a married person and you have a wife or a husband, you may have to actually take a time out to figure out things with your wife or your husband, to figure out how you guys can go about planning your future, and how you guys can go about mapping out the plan that you actually have for your family. And in the same sense, you have to do this with your kids in terms of them getting ready for college, in terms of them getting ready for high school, middle school, even elementary, or possibly preschool. And then for those of you who have real little ones, it could be for daycare. So you have to take some time and actually plan these things out. So it's always a good time to take a time out and say, hey, let me sit down, map this thing out, figure this thing out, and see how we can go from there. But in your own personal family, you should figure out when it's necessary for you to take a time out and what things are necessary for you to take a time out to figure things out with your immediate family. Last but certainly not least, sometimes you may need to take a time out for your actual self, for you to actually get yourself together so that you can be the best man or woman that you are called to be for your family. So sometimes if you're stressed out from work, if you're stressed out from financial issues that you may be facing, or even if you're stressed out spiritually, mentally, emotionally, even sometimes physically, you're not eating the right things that you should be eating, you're not exercising the way that you actually should be exercising, and you have let your body get out of shape, get out of whack, and sometimes you just have to take a time out and take a pause and figure out yourself and get yourself actually back together. So if that's financially, you may need to sit down and start planning out a budget so that you can get yourself back together financially. If that's spiritually, you may have to take a time out from possibly all the negative things that are entering into your head, and maybe even from certain things in the church that you may be doing, or just certain people in the church who may be bringing you down for whatever reason. Or if it's something that you're dealing with mentally in your head, you can't get certain things out of your head, it may be a good time for you to actually sit down and talk to someone else and take some time out to figure yourself out. And sometimes the best way to get things out of your head is to talk to somebody else, and they say, oh, okay, you know what you're saying doesn't make this much sense, or it does make a little bit of sense, but you should possibly do it this way. Or they may outright have to tell you, hey man, you tripping, or hey sister, you just off the edge right now, you really over the edge and you need to get yourself together. That's why it's always good to talk to other people when you are having possibly some mental breakdowns. Always good to talk to someone else about them. But these are just possibly some reasons for you to actually take a time out for yourself. And then too, it may be you changing careers. You may need to take some time out to think, what is the next step for me to go to a higher level in my career, or in a higher level in what I want to do with my actual life. All right, now what I always like to do on Fridays is, and with football coming back, college football is kicking off. So I got some games that I will be checking out, some college football. I'm just going to do 5 on tonight, and I'll give you who I think is going to actually win these games. If you want to bet on it, that's on you. Just don't hit me up if you lose your money. But kicking off some college football this week, and week 0 is what they're calling it. A little strange. But anywho, you have Iowa State going against Kansas State. And I'm going to actually take Iowa State to actually win this game. It's a neutral turf game. Then you have UNLV, and they'll be going against Idaho State. And I'm going to go with the home team, and that's UNLV. You got Fresno going against Kansas. This one's a little bit tricky. And even though Fresno is on the road, I'm going to take Fresno in the upset to actually beat Kansas. We'll see. Then you have Sam Houston going against West Kentucky. A lot of people may not even want to watch this game, but I will watch it. And I'm going to say that West Kentucky will win. And last but not least, you have Stanford going to Hawaii. And I'm going to take Stanford to actually beat Hawaii. We'll see how good I do. But anyways, this has been another Fam First Friday. And then always remember, Families are like branches. We grow apart, but together we stand out.